Hey everyone, it's Allie and welcome to my channel, and today I am bringing you a quick little book unhaul. Alright, so I was originally going to wait and film a book unhaul video in July, but I have been getting my house ready. My husband and I have been getting our house ready for some of his family to come. They're literally coming in like 15 minutes, so this is going to be a quick video. And I found about 18 books that I know I don't want right now. About 10 of them are actually books that I have on my shelf and I never read. And in the past, I kind of forced myself to read books if I bought them, but honestly, my tastes have changed a little bit. Pretty much all of these books that I'm getting rid of are like chick lit or contemporary romance, and I just know I'm never gonna reach for them. I did keep a few rom-coms on my shelf because there's definitely a time that I am in the mood, but I don't love like the very dramatic contemporary romances or slice of life books that are honestly depressing, and there's nothing like out of the ordinary, like it's not set at a different point in history, there's no fantastical element to it. And I know a lot of people like those kind of books, including my mother-in-law who's coming, so I figured I would kind of just create my own library of books. I have a shelf in this guest room and I'm just gonna put all these books that I want to unhaul on there, and then people can just take them if they want when they come visit. And just a reminder that, yeah, life is short. If your tastes in books have changed, that's okay. You don't have to read something just because you bought it. And honestly, I was thinking about it, every single one of these books that I am unhauling that I already read are books that I got from the thrift store for like $1. They're not books that I would have paid like $20+ for, but yeah, I saw them at the thrift and I was like, oh, might as well. Maybe it was from an author that I like. We'll get into that. But yeah, collectively, I probably spent about $10 on all the books that I haven't read, and I feel a lot better putting them in this guest room and letting other people have them rather than staring them at the shelf every month and knowing I never am gonna pick them up. But first, let's get rid of some books that I actually have duplicate copies of, and 3 of them are Roald Dahl books. The first one is The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and 6 More. That's a book of short stories. Then we've got James and the Giant Peach, and then I also have Matilda. And so as you can probably tell, these were like my childhood copies of these books. I read these to death, and I'm honestly having a little bit of a hard time getting rid of them, but I have another collection of Roald Dahl books. It's like a set where all of his books are like the same format, they're all hardbacks, so of course I don't need 2 copies of these books just because I read them when I was younger. And same situation with these. So I've got Dave at Night by Gail Carson Levine and The Secret of Platform 13 by Eva Ibbotson. I always say her name wrong. Again, I just have duplicate copies. I actually am going to be keeping my childhood copies of these just because I like the covers better. Yeah, I had rebought these on my own, and then my mom found all the ones that I had when I was a kid, and so I just decided to keep the other copies. And that makes me feel good too because these are actually in like perfect condition. I think I did go through my books maybe in like December or January, and I don't have many books that I'm getting rid of that I read over the last few months because I did like most of them, but I am going to get rid of Lucy Clark Will Not Apologize, just because this is my least favorite read of the year. I think it was originally my sister's or my mom's and they didn't want it back, so hopefully somebody else will want to read it, even though it was not my favorite. Okay, and then this is kind of a weird situation. I have the reappearance of Rachel Price, which is not like the last book. I loved this book, but as you can see, it is from Book of the Month. And what weirdly happened is, so I bought this book from Book of the Month, and then I got an email before I even received the copy that said, oh, there's randomly like half a page missing, so we're just gonna send you a full other copy of the book, but then they also sent a PDF of like the missing half a page. So I read the book with the missing half a page because it came like 3 weeks before the replacement. And so when I did get this replacement, I figured I would just give up this perfect copy and I would go ahead and keep the flawed one because, yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. I don't think the half a page was really that meaningful anyway, and I'm sure I could find that email with the PDF if I really wanted to read it again in the future. So this is a good one. I'm really excited for somebody to be able to take this. This is another one that I do have 2 copies of. This was very loved by me when I was a kid, as you can see. This is a fantastic series. I'm not sure what the actual name of the series is, but this is the first book. It's the Warrior Heir, and then there's like the Dragon Heir, the Wizard Heir maybe. Really, really good book. This is a fantastic author, Cinda Williams-Chima. I don't hear a lot of people talking about her, but this is one of my favorite series of all time. And over the last couple of years, I did rebuy this series all in hardback. So when my mom did give me those books from when I was younger, I didn't need to keep this copy. All right, and now we are getting into the like 10 or so books that I have not read. So I'm gonna talk about these all together. I'm not gonna get into like the nitty-gritty of each book, but we do have 3 books from Kristen Hanna, who is one of my favorite authors. So you might be like, why are you getting rid of 3 books from Kristen Hanna that you haven't even read yet? What I will say about Kristen Hanna is I feel like her older books are a lot different than her more recent books. I absolutely love her historical fiction books. My favorites are The Four Winds and The Great Alone, but I like many more. The Winter Garden, I just read The Women, which was very good as well. And I have read like probably 3 or so of her older, more like chick lit books. I did like Firefly Lane, like that was a pretty good one, but all the other ones I was just kind of like, they're not my favorite. And that's kind of the deal with these 3. So we've got Angel Falls, and then we've got On Mystic Lake. Yeah, you can see I literally paid $2 for this one. And then Distant Shores. So all of these are kind of like family drama, marriage issues, sad, just not books that I really want to read. But like I said, I know a lot of people really like this genre. I know my mother-in-law likes this genre, so I'm kind of hoping she just takes them all. And then similar vibes, we've got Ellen Hilderbrand's Beautiful Day. And I have read probably 3 or 4 books by Ellen Hilderbrand, and I liked Summer of '69, I think, the most because it was kind of historical fiction. But all the other ones, I just felt like I was like listening to gossip, and I just didn't really enjoy the reading experience. I didn't finish them thinking, wow, what a great book. But like Kristen Hanna, like a lot of chick lit authors, a lot of people love Ellen Hilderbrand. She is a good author. I will absolutely give her that. I feel like her books are very bingeable, very easy to read. And I do live 45-ish minutes from the beach. A lot of our visitors who come are gonna go to the beach with us. So this actually would be a really good one for someone to take or borrow or whatever when they are here visiting. This one, yeah, it just sounds like not for me, very depressing. This is Perfect Match by Jodi Picoult. I don't know if that's how you say her name, but she is, of course, a very, very famous and popular author. And I think I've maybe read 1 or 2 books from her, and I just thought they were okay, like well written, but just, yeah, not my favorite genre. And this one, yeah, this just sounds very depressing. It says, in the course of her everyday work, career-driven Assistant District Attorney Nina Frost prosecutes child molesters and works determinedly to ensure that a legal system with too many loopholes keeps these criminals behind bars. And then it sounds like they get caught up in the justice system themselves, and yeah, just ultimately not for me. I also don't really like books that are set around like a big court case. There's a lot of talk about like court and juries and all of that. It's just not my favorite. Then we do have 2 books from Nicholas Sparks. And this is kind of what I mean when I say like my taste has changed a little bit, because I feel like when I was in even like late middle school, high school, I read Nicholas Sparks and I enjoyed it, but I just, yeah, I'm not really like interested in reading contemporary romance for the most part anymore, or like family drama stories. Nicholas Sparks, I do think is very, very good. I think he is one of the best in the genre for sure. So I'm hoping people really like these. And this is a very aesthetic looking cover at least. So this story looks like it follows Maria Sanchez, who is the hardworking daughter of Mexican immigrants, and she's trying to be successful, go to college, earn a degree from Duke. And she has some trauma in her past, but of course she meets a guy, Colin, so that's that book. And then this one is The Best of Me, another very nice cover. This one is set in North Carolina. It also involves Duke. Do all of his books have like references to Duke? So I do feel good about the fact that like all of these books, I do think a lot of people visiting me will enjoy, and I think they are all pretty good beach reads. Then we've got some random ones. So this is The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel, The Lost Stories Collection. And this is one that I got off of Book Outlet, and I think I didn't really understand what the book was. And this actually is part of a series. And just after reading the blurb and everything, I wasn't interested enough in looking into the rest of the series, but I felt guilty about it because I bought it and didn't read it, so it's just been sitting on my shelf for probably at least a year now, and I just know that I really have no intention of reading this, and if I do want to get into this series in the future, I know I can just get it from the library. Yeah, so I think this might be like a book of short stories or something like that connected to this series, but I don't believe you could really read this as a standalone. Then these two I am kind of upset with myself about because they both came from a mystery box that I got from actually the Book Loft, which is a massive bookstore in Columbus, Ohio that I would highly recommend anybody going to, like for sure put it on your bookstore bucket list. And I thought it would be really fun to get a mystery box from the Book Loft, but it was not a good idea. Please do not get a mystery box from the Book Loft because even though it is fun, it's just not a good use of your money. For one, the bad thing about book mystery boxes is you don't know if you're gonna get something that you've already read or you already have, and a lot of times the price is just not right. Like for this mystery box, I think it literally broke down to each book being $10, and as you can see, it literally would have been cheaper for me to get this book at the Book Loft. So a little bit frustrating, but yeah, you live and you learn. But this one is another one that I've just been like staring at and I just don't want to read it. It's not one I ever would have picked up on my own. So this is Agent Running in the Field. And it's kind of funny because I really like thrillers, but I don't always love like detective crime stories. It depends on the author, like Kate Atkinson writes kind of detective novels and I absolutely love her. But this one just didn't sound like it was for me. So it's following a 47-year-old veteran of Britain's Secret Intelligence Service, and it sounds like he's kind of thrown back into it. So these are the kind of stories that I really like watching like in movie form, but when I read them in the book format, I feel like my eyes kind of glaze over with the fight scenes and the chase scenes and the talk of like the secret intelligence. Again, a lot of people love those kind of stories. They are very popular for a reason, but just not my favorite. And then in a similar vein, we have Harlan Coben's Win, and this is a book that is part of a huge series, and the main character is Windsor Horn Lockwood III. And this is one of the more recent books in the series, and I actually did read a random one in the series like last year. I think it was another book that I got either accidentally on my own or maybe I got it in a mystery box and I forced myself to read it. And it wasn't bad. Like the guy is a very excellent author, Harlan Coben, and he is making his money on Netflix, let me tell you. I really enjoy watching his books as miniseries on Netflix. But yeah, when I have finished the couple books I have read from him, I just felt like they were okay, and I was not eager in any way to read more from him. So maybe somebody will come who has read a lot of his books and they have not read this one yet. And then lastly, we have a book that I have seriously been dragging along with me since like freshman year of college, so about 13 years ago, and that is The Familiar. I literally remember getting this at Barnes & Noble with my roommate, and we both were so interested in this book, we both got our own copies because it's like written all these really cool ways. And honestly, part of me still does want to try to read this again, but the first time I tried, I just was like, I have no idea what's going on, this is so confusing, and I just haven't been in the mood for the last 13 years to try again. So yeah, this is gonna live in my guest room. Maybe one day I will just feel called to try to read this if nobody's taken it yet. And I think this is a whole series as well, that's why it has one. But all right, everybody, those are the 18 books that I am unhauling from one room in my house to another room in my house, but hopefully people will come and take them away soon. So this is just your sign to get rid of books that you have been staring at that you know you're never gonna read, or even if you force yourself to read them, they're just not gonna be like your favorite book. Sometimes books surprise me, but I feel pretty confident that I would not really love any of these for myself. Or I just have other copies of them and definitely don't need to. But if you like this video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help my channel out a lot. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!